The game. Married game.
Everything's a game, man.
I know, it is.
Business game, life game, married game, parenting game. It's just game everywhere, man. We just say if it's going up in any way, shape, or form, keep doing that and have a lot of patience, because you probably were a big dickhead for a long time to your wife, and that's where you need grace.
I'm in the big leagues, told her don't miss me. Ballin' like Houston, ayy, feeling like Whitney. Yeah, I need a bag, bruh, send it through quickly. I'm making his dog, like I'm in the big leagues.
Welcome to the Married Game Podcast. We are the voice you trust when it comes to lust, and we are who you hire when she lacks desire. And my co-host, Jessie Joy, on today. What's up, girl?
Hello.
I'm excited you're here because we've got a really good conversation. We just had a really good conversation with our wizard, who is our coach. And as we work through our things, we grow. And it was so funny because I told him, I'm like, hey, I really want to grow into this guy. He goes, all right, cool. Well, now is your chance. And he took me through an exercise right then and there. And I thought, wow, this is really powerful. Mm-hmm. But the voice, the thing we want to talk about today more than ever, and the thing that actually we're kind of becoming, and I'm going to use some very big air quotes here, famous for, is this concept of when the trust goes up, the lust goes up. Right. And when the trust goes down, the lust goes down. And I've never heard anybody say anything like that ever. So I know it's unique to us, and I know it's unique to our work, but I love that people have been adopting it and sharing this concept, because it seems to nail this thing that every guy is really wanting. And the guy is, yes, he wants to have sex, but he wants to be wanted. He wants, I think the guy that follows us wants to know that his wife desires him, but also looks to him with respect and says, I can go find safety in him and shelter in him, and he'll protect me. Not just, hey, here's some money to go protect it, but I become the trusted source for you to go, I can bring my problems to him because this guy's really good at solving problems.
Right.
Do you feel the same way?
I 100% feel the same way. And what's funny is I love how the journey that we got to where we are now, how we learn this along the way. Mm-hmm. So we used to have this story about hanging up the picture, right? So I would ask you to hang up the picture, and then people would tell me, well, just give him a deadline and don't bother him and let him figure it out. So I said, okay, by the end of the week. And you said, for sure. And it still wouldn't get done. So I felt that way about a lot of things. So I'm like, if I can't trust him about a picture, I can't leave my daughter with him. What about the dog? Is the dog going to get fed? So yeah. Those are all trust things. But now we come up with this new one, which what we're going through now. So my feelings or my heart, I want to share it with you. And if I feel like I can't come to you and share that, then I can't trust you, right? I don't trust you with my information, with my heart. Yeah. So now that I can and I trust you, there's a next level to our relationship. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
To me, this picture that you're seeing, the picture I see in my brain when you talk like this is, all right, I'm going to let you into the sanctum, but not the inner sanctum. And then when I have a level of trust in your eyes, you're like, okay, come into this room. I want to show you what's in this room. And then when I go in there and I prove myself again, not prove myself to you, but just prove that I am this guy that anybody could trust. Mm-hmm. Then you go, hey, well, I want to show you this thing. And
reminds me of the escape room we did recently, because all the doors open from the fireplace. You had to sneak through it, and it's another door, it's another room. So yes.
Well, but it's what's interesting is this is a concept that works well in marriage, but it's actually the same exact concept every single human being operates by with their friends.
Right.
Meaning, I'm not going to share my deepest, darkest secrets with just anybody, even though I don't have any deep, dark secrets, because I have shared.
Or just emotional, or anything that you're carrying. Yeah. So when you first meet someone, it's real surfacey. Yeah. And then you're like, oh, they're really cool. And then you share a little more. They show a little more, so you feel more comfortable to share a little more. Exactly. Yeah. And it just open up all the walls in your brain. That
you just keep letting people in, not letting people in, but letting that one person in deeper and deeper and deeper. And eventually you go, wow, we're really in a safe spot. And I think what guys don't understand is they look at a lot of guys look at their marriage like a prison. And they think, wow, this is the only lady I get to have sex with the rest of my life. I signed a contract to be in relation with this lady, and it was great for the first 3 years. Then we had a little kid, aka a cock block, come into our life. She then is focused on him. on the kid, and that may not necessarily be on him, and then he starts getting his little feelers hurt, and then he starts to cope with whatever this thing is. I need attention, I need affection, I need something, and it's like this downward spiral. And then he's like, I'm in a prison, and I don't know how to get this lady. And every guy thinks this: I married the wrong one, my wife's just not this way. And then a lot of women parrot that back to them and just be like, yeah, well, I just don't have the same kind of libido you have and whatever. And as I've been analyzing it and have coached over 200 plus guys, like one-on-one through this thing, I've come to realize in our relationship and other relationships at a really high level that if the guy steps up and he really truly is this guy, not for his wife, but for him, she's so honored to be with him, and she respects him so much, and then she can lean on him so much. I personally believe that he can take her wherever he wants to go sexually. She'll follow him if she trusts him. Do you think that's true?
Yes, that's exactly what I wanted to say too.
Really?
Yeah, it is. Because there is a couple in our Ascend, and he was telling me now that the next level, and this is where we're at, this is the next level that I want to get like everyone to, is that fun and free. So once everything, the foundation is so solid, and like I feel so secure in every way, then I can actually like let go and be that fun person that you met 11 years ago. So then we're attracted to each other more because we've reached this next level of our relationship, of freedom, of like all this stress, just kind of like, let's just have fun.
Yeah. Well, but it's because you can trust. Like if you go into a house party and you don't know anybody there, it's going to take you a while to warm up before you get on the dance floor and or grab the karaoke mic.
Yeah.
But if you go and you go, I'm going to be, like we just did karaoke the other night with Jeremy and AB and Veronica and Sarge, right?
It was so fun.
The six of us, we go into this bar, which is not that far away from our house, which is so exciting. And they'd never seen people do karaoke like we do karaoke. Like I thought, I literally thought they were all there to hear my performance. And you did too, and so does Jeremy, and so does AB. And I was floundering some songs, and you guys stepped up and came in. But because we trusted each other so much, it didn't matter what anything was going on. So if you go to a house party, you don't know anybody, you're not going to say much. But if you go to a house party or you go to somewhere where you know everybody and you trust them.
You walk in like this, hey, it's me.
What's up?
Yeah.
It's again, it's not just a level. The trust and intimacy are bedfellows. And I don't think people understand that. And it's not just trust in the sense of, you're going to hang the picture. You need that. But also trust that when you come to me, I'm not going to judge you. And I'm going to be a sounding board for you, an ear for you, a shoulder for you to cry. Like, this is what a guy is. This is what he's the rock. He's the one that everything can crash on and he's fine, right?
Yes. So tools for a man not to so she can come to him is to not be reactive, not have so much defensive, so much emotion in what she's saying. Just kind of be a listening ear for that.
Yeah.
Like be your best friend.
Yeah. Also, when you test, here's a formula. What I love about our work is I just had a guy send me a text this morning, and his wife goes, "Wow, our marriage has been so fun lately." Like laughy face or devil emoji face, right? And I checked in on his scores this week. He got laid 4 times this week.
Wow.
And he did his points. He got laid 4 times this week. And he goes, hey, check out what my wife just sent me. And I posted it on her Instagram. And I realized that there's so much more to it than just, he asked me this, he goes, how do you know all this? Because he goes, it's shocking to me how well your program works. Like, that's what he texted me. How do you know all this? And I said, well, thank you for the compliment. I'm glad to see you're getting laid like a rock star. But ultimately, I'm just sharing what has worked for us. And usually the process is me going through some humiliating stuff to figure out what's going on inside of me. I attack whatever's going on inside of me.
And some big fights we've had.
Some collisions that we've had, some fights, and then what happens is we just share, and then I share it we're so raw and vulnerable that people go, yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense. And then we've been able to work through it. But this trust thing, trust and intimacy being bedfellows, is who is going to bear their most intimate piece of their soul, whether it's saying, hey, enter me, use my body as a playground, do whatever you want with me. The amount of trust that a woman has to have with a man to truly believe that and not just do it because, oh, he wants to do it, but like, hey, I want to be with this guy. It's not just trust in he can hang the picture. It's not just trust that he's not going to judge me. It's that trust that I can lean on this dude. Like I can really genuinely lean on this dude. And that's when I believe the power dynamic goes to where the guy is grabbing her hand and saying, come follow me. And you're saying, I'll do that because every time else I've trusted you, maybe in recent history, but I've learned that wherever you're going to take me, we're going to have a really good time and I'm actually going to enjoy it. I think that's the key. And so the formula is this: test creates trust. Trust creates lust. And most guys fuck up the testing part. They because we get, like what you said, reactive, radically defensive. Not able to just go, yeah, I fucked up. And just be like, yeah, I fucked up. Like we are in a society that's pushing people to, you can't fuck up because we don't want, you can't get canceled. Oh my God, we saw that. And everybody's so afraid of what they think out there and they don't care about themselves. And so therefore they're always trying, well, I can't look bad in front of you. But actually when somebody makes a mistake and admits it, you trust them way, like we all trust that human way more. But why do you think people mess that up in marriage?
Egos? I don't know. We're human.
I taught...
I know you're way better at that than me.
Which part?
Like not admitting I'm wrong, because I could admit that, but just saying, yeah, maybe admitting when I'm wrong.
Yeah. Well, I think our society has done a really good job of trying to create this situation that all of social media is built off of highlights, not fuck-ups. So literally our brain is being trained to think certain things.
Wow.
Like, however we're getting our information is what trains us to how we're getting our information. That's crazy. And it's why so many people actually aren't that bright. Because the only information they've ever gotten was spoon-fed into their brain and they didn't critically think whether it's right or wrong. A lot of information I don't get any information from the outside world. I get it from books. I get it from journeying inside my head with my creator. I get it from having conversations with real people. And so the way I get information is very different than how a lot of the masses get it. And there's a difference. There's a difference. It's like the masses will buy a Twinkie from 7-Eleven. A small percentage of people say, no, we're going to go to this very nice steak house and get quality ingredients put into our soul. The way they look, the way they act is radically different. And it's the same way in marriages. And so I keep forgetting that 30,000 people at this point in time right now will watch this episode. And the information you and I give them will be more important to biblical scripture to them than the Bible is.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
I don't want to think about all that.
Well, but it's so good because it's like, well at least there's 30,000 people listening to shit that's real.
Yeah.
And so the testing, I told Garrett and the audience last week the number one way to overcome tests. And when I told it to you, you're like, well, duh.
Yeah.
Do you remember what I said? A&E.
Yeah, just make things fun.
Agree. And exaggerate.
Exactly. So it makes it fun.
And I told you the nose hair example that we talked about, and you laughed your ass off. You're like, oh my God, that was funny.
Yeah.
But you do it to me a lot. But here's the 3 reasons why I think it works. And I didn't say it in the last podcast, so I kind of want to say it now, but I want to say it with you on here because a lot of guys watch Garrett and I and laugh and go, those guys are just these are just a couple of jocks being goofballs. They both have hot brunette wives, and somehow they figured this out, right? But when they listen to you and I, they go, okay, wait a second. She's either going to confirm or deny that this shit is either real or it's not real.
Right.
And here's the 3 reasons why agree and exaggerate actually works. When I agree, you feel heard. You feel like I'm not just in fantasy land. I'm actually back in reality. And I go, yeah, I do struggle with that. The second thing in agreeing, so you feel heard and seen, accepted. You also realize I'm not in fantasy land anymore. And then the third thing is when I exaggerate and we both giggle, it is almost like us both saying, like, it's almost like it gives us a elegant way to step out of the shit we just stepped into and go, that was kind of stupid.
Yeah. Or we're human. Or,
it's like...
And we forget things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you so when I do this, and
I love it.
I'm not even great at this.
No.
I'm
when
not.
you're in a good mood, you are, and everything is just fun and lighthearted. But when you're like stressed or in a bad mood, then it just becomes defensive or no, how about you? You know.
Yeah. It's always about you.
Yeah.
One thing that happened this week, and I want to make sure I share it with the people, and it's this. You guys obviously know we love Wake Up Warrior. We love Garrett. We love Daniel. We love all the stuff. There's a tool that they use called the Stack, and it has helped me. I'm going to put a link in again so you guys use this. I want you to use this tool for no other reason than it will give you perspective on your life and in your situation that you can't gain on your own. And that's really powerful. So what has to happen for you to feel radical trust in me? When you are at the height of your trust in me, what is happening?
Like with our relationship?
Yeah. What it was there things I do?
My favorite is when I can just share something surfacey, something serious, anything. When I'm just able to just chit chat with you for a little bit, I feel really connected. So, and I think you do too, because that's when if I want to say something like a fight or your nose hairs or something, that you take it well, and then I feel heard, and then I just let it go.
Yeah.
So when we're in communication about anything, then you just listen to me, then I love that so much.
Listen with, like, you can tell I'm actually
that you're
home.
Actually listening.
Yeah, the lights are on, but I'm actually home.
You're home. You don't have your phone out. You're not watching TV or talking to Jovi or whatever. Yeah.
Got it.
Radical presence.
Radical presence. One of the things I know that I struggle with as a dude, and I think a lot of guys do, especially business owners, nobody expects us to be anywhere. Like, I don't have anybody saying, okay, Keith, you got to show up, or you're not going to get paid. Or it's all internally driven. Hey, I love freedom. I've got to go create this thing, and I got to do this thing. And I notice that if I don't feel like I use my time appropriately while I'm working, I sort of come home with like this resentment towards myself that I didn't get what I needed to get during the day, and then it comes out on you. Have you ever noticed this?
100%.
Yeah.
When you wake up earlier and you get all your stuff done for you, and then you work and come home, you're a lot more present.
Yeah.
Then if you woke up late or you have a lunch with someone or something, and you didn't get all the things that you wanted to get done that day, your brain, it's like can't even talk to you. And that happens, and we get in this vicious cycle of like where life happens, or kids, or gymnastics, and we haven't had that chance to connect, then we feel distant, and then we tend to argue or bicker about the littlest, dumbest things. But when we're in communication and it's flowing and it's nice and we have that time together, then you and I don't even argue about anything.
You mean when you actually feel like I care about being in the relationship? Yeah.
Yes.
What are trigger words that women use that you hang out with or see or out and about, and you go, oh shit, they don't get it? Like, is there words like if a guy comes to me and he tells me, and he's talking about his relationship, and I can tell that he is, I'll give you a couple trigger words that happen for guys, and see if it triggers anything for you as a woman. Okay.
Ready to go.
It's like, these are basic ones, but I think they serve the point of using this analogy. Something like, throw me a bone. I mean, can't you just throw me a bone? Like, just, it's like, oh,
wow.
They're looking. Here's something that guys say. Can you not just pretend to be into me? No guy wants a woman to pretend to be in them for 4 minutes. But they want them to be enthusiastic for 4 minutes towards the thing that is meaningful to them. And so if I hear that type of language, like, man, it sounds like almost victim-y. It sounds like, there's triggers that go off in my head, and I go, oh, this guy doesn't get it. He probably hasn't shown up. He probably is super needy. There's like, it sends me on like a little like a scent of a bloodhound of what the actual problem is. Does that ever happen for you with girls?
Well, I talk to more men with you, so I know exactly what you're talking about with men, and I can trigger the neediness in a man very easily.
Okay.
One thing that just popped in my head, I guess for women.
Well, you can talk about men too, because
I mostly
listen to our show. So,
but I guess is there's this girl. She keeps messaging me, and she said, "How do I get my husband to be more into me?" So I'm like, "What is missing there?" So I guess words like that.
Okay.
Or I keep trying and this,
Yeah.
And that's a weird language for me because I'm like, well, if he's not into you, like, what the fuck are you doing there?
Yeah.
So.
Here's another trigger one. Here's another really triggering one for me. You ready? Mm-hmm. I'll ask a guy if they jump on and they're like considering wanting to coach with us and to finally solve this problem once and for all. And if I'm being really candid, I cannot believe the inaction that most men will take around this problem. It's a small percentage of men that say, I got to fix that. Like, what does it cost? What do I have to do to fix this? And actually follow through with it. Most men will go, okay, that's what it takes. Nope, I'm not willing to do that. Mm-hmm. But they won't say I'm not willing to do it. They come up with a bunch of excuses. Yeah. We are the society of excuses, which I'm so tired in my life. I'm so tired of all my excuses, and you know how hard I'm working at eliminating all of them. Mm-hmm. But with that being said, if a guy says something to the effect of, I'll say, all right, hey, if nothing happens, this is a question I ask them. If nothing changes, where are you at in 3 years? A good portion of the guys will say, I think we'll be divorced. But there's another portion of men that are like, well, I mean, we're not going to get divorced, but, and that is a trigger for me to go, this dude's willing to settle. He's willing to settle in a less than ideal situation, which means he's probably settled for that in every area of his life. Because if this is the most, everybody says my family's the most important, but they invest $0 in their family, like in making. Let me ask you this. Let me say this. Actually, I'm going to rant here for just a second. The amount of guys that say they love their family and they love their wife, but have spent zero money on acquiring the skill set to have a thriving, hot marriage and become a great dad is shocking, appalling, and frankly disgusting to me. Because if I have a problem, I will spend whatever dollar amount, whatever time, whatever energy to fucking fix it. And I have not a lot of empathy for a guy that's not willing to go there, because I just don't understand that. Do you know what I'm saying?
Well, I literally don't understand how people can settle or be in a relationship they don't like. And why not spend the money? If you're going to spend it now, you're going to spend it getting divorced. Especially in this time in my life right now, how can you waste your life? You only have one, technically, that you know of.
That we know of.
That you know of. You only have like such a small amount of time. Why would you be miserable or settle or don't go after what you want?
I asked them that.
Yeah.
Because one of our principles, as you know, is leaving is the leverage. If we're in a relationship and you keep treating me like shit, but you know I'll never leave, what would be the incentive for you to ever change?
Right.
None. So we say leaving is the leverage. You know why that offends a lot of people? Is because of their religious upbringing.
Right. Yeah.
Like the Christian faith teaches, and I'm imagining this falls true for Mormons and Jehovah's Witnesses and anybody that like looks to Jesus Christ as like their team captain. The Bible talks so disparagingly and negatively about divorce that these human beings will stay trapped forever so as not to violate this book or this deity in the sky that would look disfavorably upon them. And it really breaks my heart. I have broken free from the religious stuff, and I'm constantly, like every day, working at how to break myself free and unlearn all the things that were forced upon me as a young child to believe that has shaped my worldview in what it is. But this is the one thing that I see that is so heartbreaking for me, that a man would stay a slave to a horrible situation thinking he's making a deity smile by being in that situation.
Crazy.
Doesn't that sound twisted?
I have always thought that.
Yeah, you have.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm trying to unlearn all my shit so I can meet you at a level where you've never learned it.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you're trying to unlearn some of the shit that you were raised with. We're all kind of that way. You know what I mean?
100%. Like specifically like schooling. With your kids, I'm like, why aren't they going to school? They have to go to school. And then now with Jovi, because I've learned so much, I'm like, nah, Montessori, or take a day off. Life's more important. Family's important.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Not only
my programming, and that my mom still even like tells me, I'm like, okay. Like I just let her talk. But,
yeah. I'm prepared to actually, I've audited my time lately and how much time I spend doing the things I'm doing. And I've gotten to the point in my heart right now, as we speak today, December 7th or 8th or whatever we're in, that I would actually be okay homeschooling Jovi myself for like 2 hours in the morning and say, okay, we're going to work through this together. And I'm convinced she would be better than 99.999% of people that go through public education.
I would love to hire someone, but like interview them.
For sure. I'm with you on that. But what I'm saying is, like, what is actually being taught or what people are learning, most of us adults have to unlearn all that bullshit to actually be successful in life. It's crazy to me.
I'm so glad that we know so much now.
Yeah. There's two. Oh, go ahead.
I still want to continue to always learn, but how much we know now and how little Jovi is, I mean, I just feel like we're just setting her up.
Yeah.
I love that.
For sure. I think that's a job and that's a joy of a parent, right? Is to be like, hey, I want to give you a better operating system than I would. I've had to kick and scratch and claw in my early morning sessions, my gummy tents, my exposure to entrepreneurship, all that, to be able to gain a mindset that's value-driven for others and for myself. And to think that our daughter at 8 years old is like literally being like, I preach it so much to her that she's like, oh my God, I've already heard this. And I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
Because I got taught something else. And I want to be able to teach her these things. 2 lessons I learned this week. I want to sound them off and you sound them off to me, okay? Number 1, the quote is this: stop looking for results you know you didn't earn. I realize that I've been doing that my whole life. I've been looking for results that I know I didn't earn, and that's an entitled mentality. And when I talk with guys, they come through our coaching program, I'd say that sums up. It's like, what did you expect your marriage to look like if you've literally spent no time, no money, no mental energy, no strain to actually become the guy that your wife would want? That's the first one. The second one is exposure is the gateway to expansion. Exposing yourself is the hardest thing in the world to do. But it is the gateway to expansion. Like, it's the only way you're going to grow is by saying, hey, I'm exposed. Oh, shit. And I just watched a video from Kobe Bryant like yesterday. Wow. And his number one thing was, when he was younger and he was playing in summer league, he would work on all of his weaknesses during the games because they didn't have a lot of time practice. They were doing so much time together. They were playing so many games that they didn't have time to work on skills. So he thought, well, fuck it, I'm just going to work on the skills in the game. Wow. And his number one rule was work on your weaknesses. But the only way you'll know if you have a weakness is if you actually get exposed. And the only way of usually the way of getting exposed is you're not getting the result that you actually want, or you voluntarily say, hey, I already know I'm really bad at this. And yet most people won't do that. But think about what intimacy is in a relationship. It's exposing yourself. You're being truly naked with one another. Yeah. You are you're experiencing pleasure in a way that like there's no other substitute for sexual pleasure. Do you see what I'm saying? It's not like, oh, dude, sex and roller coasters. Oh man, okay, fuck sex. I'll just do roller coasters. Yeah. What is the equivalent to the pleasure or the release other than sex? Can you think of one? I can't think of one.
Eating.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point. But it's still not the same.
Scratching that itch you got.
It's still not the same.
Yeah.
So it's this I just think guys who want a great marriage have to get used to exposing themselves and saying, yeah, I don't have it all together. I don't have everything figured out. And in fact, I don't have any of that figured out.
I totally agree. Also, for example, say if I'm saying something to you, even though it may be true or not, it's my truth. So that's an exposure. I would listen. Usually the wife is always saying something about whatever they got, a weakness, something they need to work on.
To the guy. So they have a hard time. So that's why a lot of guys like hearing it from me, because it's not their wife, but it's the same shit.
Yeah, and I literally when I talk to someone, I'm like, what has she been saying? She's saying it to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're just not listening or taking it in.
Yeah. Isn't that, why do you think guys are that way?
Ego. Comfortability.
Just blatant disregard that it could actually be their fault.
Yeah.
Okay, they do say it's their fault. So a lot of guys that listen to Married Game or come on here, they do, okay, I recognize it's my fault. But I think it's one thing to really say it and then to really mean it and to have actions on it. Is there? Can you tell the difference when I'm one of those two different?
Absolutely. Sometimes you'll say, just tell me all the things so you can get it off your chest. I'm like, this is not, you're not taking in. You just want me to get off my chest so I can stop, like, this tension can go away. But if you're like, okay, let's talk about it, or what's really bothering you, I can hear that you're listening better, which then will turn into more change.
That's interesting. Do you have any examples of that where you've seen the change and you're like, wow, this was a huge turn off, but something that looked just like it became a huge turn on, like it was the smallest shift? Can you think of anything like that?
Well, yeah, like I said, we do this vicious cycle of you getting wrapped up in life and business, and then you'll tend to not hear things that I say, or like put your phone down or be radically present. And when I let you know that it's, hey, like, I don't feel connected to you, sometimes you're reactive and sometimes you hear me. And when I know the difference of when you heard me, it literally, like, that hour, it'll change from you. You're so good at that. So you put your phone down and you're like, okay, let's talk, or
it just seems
your energy is so different.
It just seems so weird that a guy would have to be told to put his phone down.
Tell me about it.
To be with the girl that at one point he was texting, hoping he would have sex with her one day.
Yep.
Like this one, like I remember.
That's how I know you hear me too, because you say stuff like that. You're like, how did I just not see that?
Yeah.
How am I missing this?
Well, that's what's so damn crazy about it is because it's like, I remember on 11/11/11 when I knew you were coming out to see me. Like you said, I'm gonna come out to see you, and I was like, wow, that's a 45-minute drive. It's hailing. She's doing it. Like I couldn't believe it. Like I was like, wow, this is awesome.
One night stand, here I come.
One night stand, here we come. And
11 years later.
But it's almost like, well, shit. That's the same person.
Isn't that weird? That sounds so crazy.
It's maybe this is why arguments are supposed to happen, is because it's supposed to expose us once again to, hey, whoa, dude, bro. Do you remember what you had to do to get this girl? Like, do you remember who you had to become? Do you remember what you felt like when you got to first hang? You remember what a prized possession this was?
Yeah.
Not that you're a possession, obviously.
But I'm a prized possession.
But you are. But like, you're like, I was so stoked to hang out with you. And it can go from, I was so stoked to hang out with you, to like, I hope I never see this lady again.
Yeah.
Maybe not overnight, but it can happen. And wow, what would you say to a guy where his wife is radically turned off? She doesn't. She's not in. She notices and acknowledges, yeah, you're changing for sure. What would you say to that guy about his situation if he was frustrated and he's like, it just doesn't, like, she's coming along a little bit, but not really. She's buying in, but not really.
How long has he put her in that position?
Okay.
To become that person where she doesn't like him anymore. So he needs to chill out. That's what I would say.
What do you mean by chill out?
Because how long has he pushed her in that position? So if he's like eager to get things back to where it was, well, you got to relax and still continue to just do all the better things now.
Yeah. The way we talk about it, as you know, in Married Game is if things are flat, you need to change. If things are going down, you need to change. If things are going up at all, keep doing that.
Yeah.
And it might just it might just take a lot longer.
They get impatient though.
Well, of course they do.
Yeah.
Because we want what we want right now. Nobody likes waiting for Christmas. Nobody likes.
I do.
Okay. You like the Christmas season.
I like the anticipation.
The build up.
The build up.
Ooh.
I do. The game. Married game.
Everything's a game, man.
I know, it is.
Business game, life game, married game, parenting game. It's just game everywhere, man. We just say if it's going up, in any way, shape, or form, keep doing that and have a lot of patience, because you probably were a big dickhead for a long time to your wife. And that's where you need grace. All right. I think we've hit. So the trust thing is not just, hey, he hang the picture, but it's like, hey, I can come to him and he'll listen. Mm-hmm. I can trust him. Here's another way that people destroy this trust, is when they talk to somebody outside of their relationship, or they talk about their person in a disparaging way in front of others. I've never talked bad about you in front of anybody.
No, I just talked to my mom. That's it.
Well, yeah, your mom, yeah.
She knows everything.
She does. Mm-hmm. But what I'm saying is, when men or women knock their partner in front of other people, that might be the most egregious, disrespectful, trust deteriorating thing possible. And I've seen it. And we don't hang around that many people. No,
but I did hear this one couple, and she was like, "Oh, tell my husband to get you a drink," to me, my mom, and she's like, "Fuck him, go make him do it." I was like, "Oh my god!" And they've been married like 20 years. They're still together, and he was like, "Okay." I was like, "Whoa!" Wow. Yeah.
Would that have worked with me?
No, hell no. I don't want it to work with. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's not.
I don't want a man like that.
No, yeah, a high quality woman wants a high quality man, and no high quality man would ever be treated like that. Anything else you want to close with? Anything about this when the trust goes up? People are sharing it. People are reposting our shit without quoting us, which I don't give a shit. I just love the principles out there.
Me too. If it just helps people, I love that.
Yeah.
No, I don't want to say anything else about this, but I just wanted to say something about Dave Woodward.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, we love you and his family.
Well, he's dead.
Yeah. Well, I still love him.
Oh, I love him too. One of our close friends, he actually wrote the foreword for my Private Money Secrets real estate book. I knew him before he was one of the owners of ClickFunnels.
I met him when I met you 11 years ago.
Yeah.
Because you did real estate together, which is crazy. And then he just did so well.
Yeah.
And I love that for him and his family. But I just want to say, we love you all.
Yeah, we'll probably record maybe one more podcast before we go up to the funeral. Garrett and I got to fly up there and be with him literally on his deathbed. And it was one of the most beautiful things I had ever seen. There was so much peace and love. And it was the first time I ever got to see with my own eyeballs somebody on their deathbed that had nailed the bullseye.
Wow.
Like, we all think that these guys alive are like, whoa, they made a bunch of money, or whoa, he's got all this, and we're like, wow, they're winning. But when you actually are with a man and his wife and his 4 sons and his 1 daughter-in-law, we were all in the bed, we were just hugging on Dave, loving on Dave, we had some music going, we just were crying. I got to just hold him, you know? And it was the first time I've ever seen anybody win at that level. I was like, holy fuck, this guy made a bunch of money. But it wasn't because he was a dickhead. He was such a loving, caring, gracious dude. And so, yeah.
He's always been that. He's just always been so wonderful.
Always. Mm-hmm. And it makes me feel so good that he did so well in so many areas of life. But it served as a huge reminder for me. It's like, know what you're optimizing for. What Dave optimized for was his 4 sons, his extended family in that regard, his friends, his wife. Like he truly did it. And I actually was like, I want to be able to lay on my deathbed and be like, I did it. Like there's nobody that would say that they dislike Dave or that they don't like Dave or if they had an interaction with Dave. And even if they did,
no,
who cares?
I don't think so.
I mean, maybe. I mean, we're probably a lot more polarizing than our good buddy Dave, but he nailed it. And so thank you for bringing that up because I did want to honor him. And actually,
man, the good die young, don't they?
They do. And I stole this from his office. I was going to steal something else, but they said, we'll take something small. So it's the obstacle is the way coin. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. And Dave did that. And so this will be in the man cave forever. And it's actually one of the most true statements ever. The thing that you're avoiding doing is the thing that you need to do to get to where you want to go, to become who you want to become. So if you've loved this episode, go ahead, like it, share it, comment, subscribe wherever you're seeing this, but ultimately share it with somebody else that you think would get a lot of value out of it. We are not doing any ads at this point. I'm not opposed to that maybe one day, but we've always wanted this podcast to be a place where we can give you true information about what really works in the real world right now. And we'd love for you to share it. We want this show to continue. We want it to go from 30,000 to 60,000 to hundreds of thousands. And ultimately, we want to reach millions with the gospel of married game, the good news of how to actually create the marriage you really want. So with that, as you know, keep crushing it. That shit's contagious.